7, my older sister Sarah went to an all-girls sleepaway camp. I pleaded with my parents to let me go with her, but as it is with most firstborn children, Sarah had to be the guinea pig. She came back 2 weeks later raving about the time she had. So a year later, I was standing in the middle of the woods with my flashlight and my sleeping bag, surrounded by kids who were begging their parents not to leave them. But I couldn't get my parents out of the cabin fast enough. Sarah told me that all the fun really began when the adults were gone. I was 8 years old. Reflecting on that summer, I remember next to nothing, but it must have been pretty epic because I kept going back. For 12 years, I kept going back. I think Dr. Seuss summed it up best when he said, sometimes we will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. I may not remember it well, but that summer set me on a path for the rest of my life, a path that would make me a strong leader and a confident woman. Growing up, camp was a place where I could try new things without worrying about who might see me fail. I learned that I am very competitive, that I'm good at canoeing, that I'm not a great singer, but that'll never stop me from singing at the top of my lungs. And the reason why I could try and fail and try again was because for the first time, I felt completely comfortable being the most authentic version of myself. My counselors became my heroes, and all I wanted was to be just like them when I grew up. And in 2016, I became a counselor in training, my first year on staff. I had spent 8 years letting camp, the place, and the people there empower me as a young woman, and now I had the chance to do that for other kids. Being a counselor pushed me as a leader. I was taught lessons in responsibility, patience, and kindness. Being a counselor gave me a sense of purpose, to be an instrument in the physical, mental, social, and spiritual growth of my campers. And I found the best place I could make an impact was working at the waterfront as a lifeguard. Last summer, on the first day of camp, our youngest camper came up to me and she said, "Excuse me, are you going to teach us how to swim? Because I don't know how." I went right up to the head of waterfront and I asked to be put on the level 1-2 class because I was going to teach that little girl how to swim. 4 weeks later, my level 1-2 class was jumping into the water all by themselves. And on the last day of camp, 2 of my campers came up to me and they asked if they could swim to the deep end ladder. Now, I'm a pretty good teacher, but I'm not that good. I'd only just taught these girls how to swim. But I wanted them to know that I believed in them and I thought they could do anything. So I put my lifeguard tube underneath me and I hooked one of them under each arm and together we swam to the deep end. And once they climbed up the ladder, I told them that someday they'd be able to swim in the deep end all by themselves. Now, if those 2 campers are anything like me, they may not remember much from their first year, but building a foundation of confidence started there. Swimming involves strength, endurance, persistence, and I was able to teach those girls that they have that within them. People often ask me what I like most about being a counselor. The answer is becoming fearless. It's a bit profound for a summer job, I know, but it is completely true. We have these spiders that live under our dock. We call them Jesus spiders because they can walk on water and they're huge. Now, I don't like spiders, but when one is on the dock and your swim class is freaking out, you tell the girls everything will be fine and you take care of it, even though you're just as scared as they are. Being fearless as a counselor means doing what you need to do in order to continue to foster a safe environment for the campers so that they can continue to try and fail and grow. Being fearless as a young woman means still allowing yourself to try and fail and grow while the rest of the world is watching. So at camp, that means taking care of spiders and occasionally even bears. Now, I'm not saying any of this to deter you parents out there from sending your kids to camp. I clearly think you should, so I would like to add a side note that we have a specific protocol in place for bear sightings in the campground. But sometimes being fearless means you have to put yourself in between some campers and a bear, but you never run. Mostly because that's actually the opposite of what you're supposed to do in a bear situation. You're actually supposed to back away slowly, but also because you have to face those scary situations head on. We have to be teaching young girls to never run from bear or otherwise. Last summer, I was part of the leadership staff, serving as the head of discovery, which, when needed, serves as conflict resolution. When campers would come to me with problems like gossiping or leaving each other out, I would do an activity with them called Cross the Line. I would take them down to the waterfront, I would draw a line in the sand, and the rules were, if I say a prompt that applies to you, you take a step over the line. I gave the following prompts in the following order. Cross the line if you've ever been gossiped about. Cross the line if you've ever gossiped about someone else. Cross the line if you've ever been left out. Cross the line if you've ever left someone else out. Cross the line if you've ever been told you can't do something. Cross the line if you've ever been told you can't do something because you're a girl. For every question, almost every camper crosses the line, and this opens up a discussion about how we should be treating others and how we deserve to be treated by others. But the conversation always takes a turn when we talk about the prompt, cross the line if you've ever been told you can't do something because you're a girl. Girls start sharing stories about teachers and coaches and sometimes even parents who are discouraging them from achieving their goals because they're girls. These are their authority figures, their heroes, the people they look up to, and they're instilling in them a sense of self-doubt that leaves a lasting impression on their lives. In Discovery Time, this prompt is used to help girls think about how in a world that continuously tells girls they can't, we need to be allies and advocates for each other. But it really got me thinking about all the girls who don't get to go to summer camp and who are still told by the adults in their lives that because they're girls, there's limits on them. Without a safe place to express themselves, who will tell those girls that the possibilities are limitless, not limited? All of us, all of you, can and need to create and foster safe environments that empower young women and allow them the freedom to explore and express themselves. And it needs to start when they're young and be continuously reinforced. So send your kids to summer camp. Or don't. It is not the physical place that builds girls' confidence. The trees aren't magic. For me, it was the people I spent all those summers with, the safe environment that my counselors fostered, and the environment I am hopefully helping to foster for other young women. And these safe spaces can be created anywhere, by anyone. Create them for your daughter, for your niece, for your sister, for your student, for the girl you are mentoring, for the girl who looks up to you. Our words matter, our actions matter. What we do and what we say is powerful and makes an impact. It is our responsibility to make sure that impact is a positive one. If we want women to be strong, we need to tell girls that they are strong. Tell them at camp, tell them at school, tell them at home. 12 years is a long time. Camp saw me through puberty, through several bad haircuts, through headgear, through braces, through headgear again, through elementary school, middle school, high school, and my first year of college. It made the worst times bearable and the best times even better. A year and a half ago, I was standing in the middle of a college dorm room with my suitcases and my class schedule, surrounded by kids who were so nervous to have their parents leave them. I wasn't pushing mine out the door this time, but I knew I would be okay. Chasing bears taught me bravery, paddling boats taught me strength, teaching swim class taught me patience. When I forget I have these skills, I think back on those moments, on the people I shared them with. I think back on my home deep in the woods and the lessons I learned on the lake, and I know I'm ready for anything. My name is Emma Cullen, and I'm a speaker who dares.